Mahomes or Jackson? Prescott or Wilson? Brady or Breeze? Those are the questions we're going to answer in this video.
Here we go. We're doing the top 10 QBs. It's either very important because you're in a super flex or not important because you're in any other league. Here we go.
I feel like it is extremely important no matter what league you're in. Let's say you're in a league with a bunch of guys who know what they're doing. You're in a 10-team, very competitive league where there isn't idiots drafting quarterbacks in the third or fourth round. Well, maybe it's not an idiot to draft a quarterback in the fourth round, but either way, you get what I mean. And let's say you're sitting there in the ninth round, and everybody has been passing on quarterbacks and taking the players they should be taking. Let's say you have that first pick of the ninth round. Who are you going to take? Well, that is what we're going to talk about right now. So each of us did our own top 10 quarterback lists, and we're going to go down those lists right now. And we're going to start at number one. Who do you got at number one? Who's your top quarterback?
I got Patrick Mahomes at number one.
Want to talk about why?
I got consistency. Last year, I think he was 6th in points. The year before, he was breaking records. I just like somebody who I know can be at the top, that will be at the top no matter what. As long as he doesn't get injured, this guy is going to be throwing the ball, and they're going to be scoring points. And so that's why I have him number one.
I also have him at number one. Like you said, he finished last year 6th in points, but in fantasy points per game, he was second. The guy missed 2 games, and that is the only reason why he finished as low as he was. Coming off a Super Bowl MVP where he had a dominant playoff run, and we've seen a lot of times over the years where a player does really well in the NFL playoffs and then translates that into a good fantasy season. We've seen that actually quite a bit.
So we're the same so far. This is exciting. One for
one. One down, one for one. Mahomes is fantastic. However, I feel like number 2 is also going to be the same. I will start with my number 2, Lamar Jackson. I do not fault anybody for taking Lamar Jackson as your fourth quarterback off the board. If you like Jackson better than Mahomes, no problem. Jackson is coming off an unbelievable season. Unbelievable. He scored about 100 more fantasy points than any other player in football, regardless of position. And I can't remember the last time anybody's done anything like that. I like even Mahomes a year ago, where he was breaking records. He was not 100 points better than the second best player in football. Yeah. So yeah. Who's your number 2 guy?
My number 2, same thing, Lamar Jackson. He does not throw the ball that much. He averaged 208 yards last season, but this is what's scoring you points. He has 80 yards a game on average.
Rushing.
That is rushing.
From a quarterback.
80 yards a game. That is 8 points in a game from a quarterback. He averaged half a touchdown a game. You're getting an extra 6.
He finished in the top. He finished in the top 10 in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns among all players.
Yeah,
all players, including running backs. So
he's my number 2. Again, getting a half a rushing touchdown. Like most leagues are 4 points for a passing touchdown. You're getting an extra 20 yards of running, or that extra 2 points for running in that touchdown. Oh, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful.
I've heard a lot of talk from people about, the league is going to figure him out. Nope. You do not figure out that kind of speed. The man is maybe the 3rd fastest guy in the NFL, period. I would say Tyreek Hill and John Brown are probably faster.
Hot take.
And that's it. This guy is with the football in his hands on the football field. He might be faster than his own teammate Hollywood Brown, and Hollywood Brown is fast. This guy is so fast. And I've heard talk about how the NFL is going to figure him out. Nobody ever figured out Michael Vick. Michael Vick was 7 years into his career when he had his best season with the Philadelphia Eagles, when he was just torching the league, and it's the same thing here. The only thing that you're watching out for with this guy is, of course, the injury risk. He's not the biggest guy. He does not have the Cam Newton body. but he's big enough, and I think it would take a freak injury to derail this guy. Otherwise, I think he's going to have another really big year. I just think Mahomes is probably going to be just a little bit better as long as both of them play 16 games. So,
Yeah, I think there's a higher injury risk with Jackson as well. It's just when you run the ball more. I just think Mahomes is a safer guy. It's not that he doesn't run the ball as well, but he can get it done throwing. And I think, sometimes these guys, they're rushing, and then you end up with Cam Newton. And then they're like, oh, my goodness, we have to protect this guy. We can't have him rushing 80 yards a game. So that could be another worry. That's why I still have him really high, but that's why I have Mahomes higher.
yep, nothing wrong there. All right, moving on. This is probably where the list gets interesting. Who do you have at number 3?
I got Russell Wilson. So I got Russell Wilson at the number 3 slot, just edging out probably who you have at the number 3 slot, Dak Prescott. But I have Russell Wilson. He's running with legs right now. He's looking good. He did a pretty good season last year. He was top 10. I think he's on the up. I think the offense is taking a step forward. I think they're going to be doing some option plays. I think Russell Wilson will be running the ball a little more. I'm excited to see what Wilson does this year.
Solid choice. As you suspected, I do have Dak Prescott as my number 3. I don't fault you for taking Wilson here, but I think Prescott's target, his weapons are just vastly better than Wilson's. Now, obviously, I'm biased. Look at my background, but I think just about anybody is going to take Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb and all those guys over Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, and it ends there, right?
Yep.
That's just the way it is. Both of them are going to be running the ball a lot. Both of them have the consistency. You look at the last 4 years; these are 2 of the top 5 quarterbacks for the last 4 years, fantasy wise, and neither of them get hurt. So I just go to the weapons, and Prescott flat out has better weapons, and he's coming off a better year too. So
it's weird. It's weird. I got Russell Wilson was still running a decent amount last year. He was getting 21 yards a game. But it shocked me to see Dak under the 20-yard a game mark in rushing because he was such a runner, but he came a long way in the passing yards. I think there was only, Jameis Winston and Matthew Stafford were the only ones who threw more than him yards per game. So that's more than Lamar Jackson, of course, but that's more than Patrick Mahomes. Like, he was throwing a lot this last year.
Absolutely. They want him to tone back his running, but here's the thing: you're always going to have that threat, and you're not starting him for his rushing yards anymore. Not like in his rookie season where maybe he would give you the rushing yards. You're starting him for his rushing touchdowns on top of his passing numbers because he will give you the occasional rushing touchdown, which other quarterbacks aren't giving you.
Yeah, he was lower last year on it, but I think he's in for a good amount of positive rushing touchdown regression.
Sure, but he just has that threat. Like he has the speed, and if he sees an open field in front of him, and when they're in the red zone, he's going to run it in. So the threat is just always there. With a guy like Drew Brees,
you never have that.
With Drew Brees and Tom Brady, you're never going to have that threat. Matt Ryan, those guys, you're not going to see that. So yeah, those are our 3 and 4 guys. You have Wilson at 3. I have Prescott at 3.
Yep.
Who is your number 5 quarterback?
Oh, here we go. This is where I think it's going to get really, really weird. I got Kyler Murray there.
That is the consensus number 5 ADP right now. So that's
actually
not. It is.
Okay.
At least on Fantasy Pros.
Okay.
So you're not too far off there. Why Kyler Murray?
Oh man, the weapons this year that this man's going to be throwing. I think he was just outside the top 10 last year. I think he's getting comfortable. I think they're going to be throwing the ball. We thought last year they're going to be doing this heavy air raid offense, or they're just throwing the ball over and over again. I think that's still going to happen this year. I just think he's going to be better at it. I think that team takes a step forward. I'm excited. I have Kyler Murray. It's funny. I didn't know Kyler Murray was so high on everybody's list. I thought it was like the only one, so it's a little sad because I thought I was going to be able to.
He is definitely high. he is. Yeah, makes sense. He's got a nice new weapon called DeAndre Hopkins on that team. So
That's going to be beautiful. He's going to be beautiful. They're going to be throwing these bombs, 30-yard slant. I'm excited. I'm excited for this guy.
all right, so for my number 5 guy, I am differing from you. And
Okay.
all right, so first off, I'm going to leave with a question. Do you remember what my number 1 hot take of last offseason was? I
Oh,
said it.
number one?
My
You had a
number
lot.
1.
Are you
At
sure it's your
quarterback, at the
number one?
quarterback.
At
It was.
quarterback. I was going to say your number one hot
You,
take
you might
last
not
year
remember this, but I said it at least
was
3 different times.
okay, because your number one hot take was Derrick Henry's going to be a beast, and you were right.
I don't really want to say that's my number 1 hot take because Derrick Henry kind of already was showing flashes of that the previous season. I'm talking about Josh Allen. I don't know if you remember
Yes,
this.
I
I
remember that.
flat
I
out
do remember
said
this.
Josh Allen's going to finish in the top 5 fantasy for quarterbacks. I don't think he quite made it. I think I was wrong. I think he was 6, but
You were
I don't have the list in front of me, but you have very close. That's who I have at number 5 again this year. Um, for the second year in a row for myself, I have Josh Allen as the 5th best quarterback in fantasy. Um, he is another guy that will run and run and run. He's the guy with the rush. He had the second most rushing yards in the NFL last year among quarterbacks. He had the most rushing touchdowns among quarterbacks. Am I correct in that? I believe he had more than Jackson. I might be wrong. I don't have the list.
you're not quite right. He's number. Oh yes, you're right. Josh Allen. He was
Yep.
slightly above both Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson.
Yep. In
Slightly.
rushing touchdowns.
Yep.
There you go. That's what I thought. And guess what? He just added Stephon Diggs at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Josh Allen this year. Also, like he plays in that division, and when you're playing the Jets twice and the Dolphins twice, not so much the Patriots twice, but when you're playing those other 2 teams twice, those are some you're going to be putting up some good fantasy numbers, and he did last year. I expect him to do it again this year. So that, yeah.
I will say I don't think the Pats are going to be what they were last year. I think there's something to be said about having a good offense, makes your defense look a little better.
Yeah.
I think they're going to struggle. They're still in my top 10 defenses, but I mean, because who they play this year as well. But I don't think they're going to be as. I think I agree with you, Josh Allen.
Well, while their defense won't be as good, their secondary will still be the best in the NFL.
Sure.
They lost key players all over that defense, except for in the secondary. They're bringing back all the same guys. Stephon Gilmore, probably the best corner in the NFL at this point, and
Currently.
they still have him. Yeah, and the McCourty brothers are both really good. Maybe they lost one of them. I don't remember. But anyways, we'll get to that team later on in our divisional videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, Josh Allen, number 5. I expect a fantastic season from him. Who is your number 6 guy?
So my number 6 guy is Deshaun Watson. So
Tell us why.
Deshaun Watson was 3rd last year. He's been a beast ever since he started. Now, he did lose Hopkins, but he had actually been showing that he was able to throw the ball around. They were sharing the ball. I think that's one of the I don't want to say it's one of the reasons why Hopkins left. I don't think that's one of the reasons, but it could be. I mean, they were throwing the ball around a decent amount. And
Hopkins got traded. Hopkins did not choose to leave. They traded
okay.
Hopkins.
Okay. So
although to be fair, Hopkins might have wanted out. I don't think we really know, but continue.
We don't know, but I'm just saying. I think if I remember some grumblings that were going on, but anyway, I think that Watson is going to be. He was 3rd last year in points per game. He was fantastic. I think he's going to do well. I don't have him above. I mean, 6th is mid-rear, middle of the pack when you're actually talking about playable quarterbacks, draftable quarterbacks. So we're getting to the point where these are quarterbacks that I'm going to get late rounds, maybe 8th, 9th, 10th rounds. And so I like Watson here. I have him just edging out Josh Allen by 3 points. So it's super close.
Okay, so I also have Watson here. This actually finishes out my tier 1 quarterbacks. I have a tier 1, and it is my top 6 with Watson. Just barely in that tier still. He lost Hopkins, no doubt. That is a big downside.
That's gonna hurt.
He did pick up Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb will not place Hopkins numbers, but Cobb is a good wide receiver,
Sure.
and Watson until Watson it proves to us otherwise, I'm still going to just consider him an elite tier 1 quarterback. Especially for fantasy. The guy has been
Yeah.
very good.
My tier ended at Kyler Murray. My Deshaun Watson starts my new
As
tier.
does Fantasy Pros tier. Are you sure
Oh,
you didn't?
really?
Are you sure you didn't copy Fantasy Pros list? Because so far you are step for step exactly the same as Fantasy Pros.
Really? They have
Just so
Wilson
you
as
know.
3 too?
Yeah,
Do they have
I
Wilson
think
as
so.
3 too?
I think so. I'll check in a minute here. But
Okay.
they might have Wilson and Prescott flipped. I'm not sure, but otherwise, yeah, they have Watson at 6.
Hey, you know what? I can't complain. If the pros are saying what I'm saying,
Fine.
I'm not going to complain.
When I say Fantasy Pros, like they take all the professionals lists and combine them into one master list. So it sounds like you're pretty on
Yeah,
par.
there's some garbage people in there.
Yeah, yeah. Some people we disagree with a little bit, like especially from a certain website called Yahoo. But anyways, moving on. Who is your
I don't like
number
this.
7 quarterback?
So I have number 7 is Josh Allen. So this is where I have him. He's really close to Watson. So this is where I have Josh Allen. Again, great running threat. He's gonna do some really good things this year. I agreed with you. The difference between him and Watson was very little, and the difference between Watson and Murray was a touchdown. So these are all pretty close to that middle range.
Real quick, guys. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to click this button for just 1 second and share my screen. And here we are at Jackson Mahomes. Okay, you have these two flipped. Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson,
Okay.
Josh Allen. So that is the
That's
list
great.
so far.
This is great.
And yeah.
Oh, I'm looking over my list and I'm about to differentiate a lot.
Well, I'm glad you're differentiating a lot at this point because so far people are like, did Alan even do any research for this video?
I promise you, my rankings are based on projections that I do.
So pretty much
That's
at this, so my number 7 guy is Kyler Murray, and I'm not going to talk about the reasons why he's great. We've already talked about that. I'm going to talk about why I have him so low, because 7 apparently is low for Kyler Murray now.
Sure.
The hype is huge on this guy right now, but he's only going to. We'll see. I am a guy. I do not hop on bandwagons easily. I really don't. I never have. I tend to hop on.
Unless it's a cowboy bandwagon.
No, I actually hate cowboy bandwagons. I hate it when everybody hops on the bandwagon. I really do. I like it when there's nobody on the bandwagon, so it doesn't seem like I'm a bandwagon fan. I hate it when I'm like, I love the Cowboys. Everybody's like, oh, you're just a bandwagon fan. I'm like, I've loved the Cowboys literally my entire life. Go away. But no, for fantasy, I like hopping on the guys that nobody else is talking about, and you'll see that later on in my list. But as far as Kyler Murray goes, everybody's talking about him. I know this is not a reason to rank him low, but I know he has the Hopkins as a great target, but I don't know how great his targets are outside of Hopkins. We will see. Larry Fitzgerald's 100 years old, and I know he's got some other guys there, but I don't know. And by the way, I still have him as my number 7 quarterback, so let's not go too crazy here. But I don't quite think he's going to be better than Allen or Watson. So that's why I have him 7.
Yeah, I got you. I think those 3. The reason why I did a tier break is because there was more than a 6-point difference between those. So there was a touchdown between the two. But if you give Josh Allen or Deshaun Watson a touchdown, they're in that top tier. So that's just one more touchdown difference.
Moving on, who is your number 8 quarterback for this episode?
Here we go. Because I think I was looking over that list. So I was trying to see how much I differentiate from the rest. But it's about to get very haywire. My next quarterback off the board is Tom Brady.
Wow. Okay.
Besides the fact that he was the GOAT, he is the GOAT. even outside of that he's starting to decline a little bit, his
Mhm.
targets are just so good on that team. And I just cannot imagine how this man does not beat last year. And it ain't got to be hard to beat last year because he was pretty low. I think he was in 20th. But I think that he's going to be up there. Tom Brady has a potential to be number 3. I think number 3 is his ceiling. And when you're talking about these later round guys, I like seeing what's the potential. How do I get a top quarterback late round? And that's why I have Tom Brady. His targets are just so good. And as long as he's not completely falling off the wagon, I don't see how he doesn't make the top 10 easily.
Yeah, solid pick here. Yeah, his targets are pretty good. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, both top 10 receivers easily. Definitely a big upgrade on what he was throwing to last year. So here is my first hot take of the season. Probably not my first hot take, but my first hot take of this video.
Hot take number 12.
My number 8 quarterback is Baker Mayfield. I am a year off on this guy than everybody else was. Last year, I did not even have him in my top 10 quarterbacks.
Wow.
This year, I have him at number 8. I do not understand why more people are not talking about this guy right now. I talked about it a little bit in our previous video. This guy is a massive chip on his shoulder type of player, right? And he loves it when everybody starts doubting him. Everybody in the world is doubting him and his team right now. And then they went out and got an actual head coach, and they went out and got some offensive linemen to put in front of him. And the last time I checked, they still have a man named Odell Beckham Jr. and another man named Jarvis Landry on that team. So, yeah, I still think that those 2 receivers are very good. I think both of them, I think all these guys are going to have bounce back years, especially since teams really have to worry about stopping the run with Nick Chubb back there. And with that new and improved offensive line and a new head coach, I see him easily having a top 10 season. And I have him at number 8.
You're going to have a lot of Baker Mayfield because no one is as high as to put him in the top 10 right now. I don't have him in my top 10. So that I agree. That's a hot take. I understand the thought process, right? They were supposed to do this last year. This is what and the people call a post-hype sleeper, right? Like they were supposed to be hyped and now they're actually going to perform. So I don't fault you for that. I was a little shocked. So I had to look how far I have him ranked, and I don't have him crazy far down. So it's not like he's not there, but he's going to be free in most drafts.
He's 15th on Fantasy Pros right now.
Yeah, that's free.
Well, in our last mock draft video, we were debating what quarterback to take in. I think it was the 11th round, something like that.
Yep.
And I made the case for Mayfield, and we ended up going with Mayfield, and I'm doing that a lot in my mock drafts. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So there you go. Write it down, everybody. We'll be coming back and looking at these videos in the 6 months from now when we're deep into the season. Trust me, we'll be coming back and we'll be writing these down. And maybe I'm wrong and you can all laugh at me, but I love it when I'm right, and we will see.
I will. I will laugh at you.
Were you laughing at me about Derrick Henry or Josh Allen last year?
I was wrong. I was wrong on Derrick Henry. I will admit to the world, I had no shares of Derrick Henry. No,
I'm aware.
I had one best ball league with Derrick Henry.
It felt like all the other fantasy experts had been burnt on Derrick Henry at some point in his career, and were just like, nope. And I was like, yes.
So what you're saying is that this year, the Derrick Henry of this year is Leonard Fournette.
Moving on. Who is your number 9 quarterback?
All right, saucy time. I got Matthew Stafford here.
That is sauce. That is
all sauce. Now, it shouldn't be sauce. Do you know how many times he has put up 4,000-yard seasons? Like, this guy throws the ball a lot. He was 4th last year in points per game.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
4th.
I remember.
Right? And they're getting him for free right now.
Yeah.
They keep saying, I want to run the ball. I want to run the ball. They draft people. They bring people in. They draft people. They bring people. I want to run the ball. And then every year, Matthew Stafford throws it 1,000,000 times, and they get 1 billion passing yards.
We were just talking about that in our last video, our NFC North review, and we talked all about this man. And you made a point then, and you're making your point further now. You really like Matthew Stafford again this year, all right?
Yeah, I'm willing. You know what's funny is I'm high on him. I don't want to say that he's the one that I'm planting my flag in yet, but I'm a lot higher on Stafford than a lot of people. I think where you're going to end up with a lot of Mayfield, I'm going to end up with a lot of Stafford.
Yep. And at the end of the year, we will see who is more right. Am I right?
Sure. Right.
All right. My number 9 guy is Tom Brady. I don't think I need to talk too much about why, but the man has all the weapons. The man has the proven track record. The man has it's Tom Brady. And I can. Last year was the first time I ever left him off my top 10 quarterbacks list for fantasy football.
And you should have.
And I was correct, as everybody else was. Let's not act like I was far from the only one doing that. And everybody was right. He didn't have any targets last year. He has targets.
He has targets.
He should have a massive bounce back here. So let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Who do you have at number 10?
I have the one, the only contender for the GOAT when it comes to yards and touchdowns, Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
Yep. Guy is just consistent. He throws the ball. They throw the ball. Even when they were running the ball, they were still throwing the ball a bunch. Like, he is just good. The fact that he's in a place that, is conducive to good throwing, right? When they play indoors, like with the dome down and all that stuff. Everybody complains about how Drew Brees always throws in a dome. Yeah, and I love it for fantasy because it's just more accurate. It's easier.
I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care. I just want him to score points for me, and he's my number 10. I love me some Brees. He was 5th last year for points per game. He's always there, and the fact that we're getting him, it's not quite free because he's a little higher on a lot of other lists, but he's pretty close. He's near the bottom.
You actually have him one. No, he's not. You actually have him one below Fantasy Pros. Fantasy Pros still really likes him.
Okay.
For good reason. If he was not, this is a man that if he wasn't playing at the same time period as Tom Brady, more people would be talking about him as a potential greatest of all time.
Yep.
The guy has been doing it for so long. He has a Super Bowl. He has all the records, and he's going to finish with all the records unless Brady does, right? It's like who retires first? Between Brees and Brady, whoever retires first will end up with less records. Yeah, like the career yards and career passing touchdowns, they're so close to each other. Right? It's just about retirement age. Right now, I believe Brady's on top on both because Brees missed 6 games last year. So Brees has a little bit of catching up to do.
But he's also 2 years younger.
But that doesn't really matter. It feels like both of them are on their last legs right now. So
I'm ready. I think Brees takes it.
Number 10 for me is Aaron Rodgers.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So that's not too far off.
It's not too low. I have him at 13. So yeah, that's not too far.
I like him a little. Matt Ryan, I believe, is much higher on the Fantasy Pros than on either of our lists. I guess we're both.
That's fine.
Underrating Matt Ryan. I feel like most people underrate Matt Ryan every year until this year. And now all of a sudden he's like 7th or something. It's like, okay, that's a little too high for me on Matt Ryan. I like it when everybody has Matt Ryan at like 15th, and then I just
take him for free.
So I won't be taking Matt Ryan. Yeah, I won't be taking Matt Ryan this year because he's rated too high. I also won't be taking Aaron Rodgers this year, even though I have him at 10, because of the fact that people love Aaron Rodgers. They know his name. But he is in my top 10. I expect him to have a top 10 fantasy season because he's just too good not to. He always has a top 10 fantasy season. I don't think he's ever not had a top 10 fantasy season. So
Matt Ryan, I have right under Carson Wentz, just a little lower.
So do you want to do your honorable mentions list? Who's the next 3 on your list?
Next 3, I have Ryan, Wentz, and Daniel Jones.
Okay, my next 3, I have Brees, Ryan, and Wentz. So there we go.
Yep. So it's pretty close. Like we were close a lot of the time.
Daniel Jones. Hold on. Wait. All right. Well, you need to give us a little discussion right now about Daniel Jones. He's your 13th quarterback.
1, 2, 3, 4, 14th. 14th. I have him at 14th.
You're missing a guy then.
Oh, then I'm missing. Oh, did I say Wentz? I missed Wentz.
You said Wentz, Ryan, and Daniel Jones as your next 3.
I'm missing Rodgers. We already talked about
Okay.
Rodgers.
There we go. So
Yeah,
Rodgers was like 11 for you.
Yeah, yeah, it was
Okay,
right outside the top 10.
So you got a score. That's still okay. So you think Daniel Jones will be the 14th best quarterback in fantasy football in the 2020 football season?
Yep, I have him above Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield and Ben Roethlisberger.
Jared Goff, Ryan Tannehill. I mean, these are all, to me, when you get down here, they're all free guys. They're all going to be played at some point in time.
None of these guys will be drafted though. In a lot of leagues, right? Like unless there's just people in your league drafting 2 quarterbacks.
We will be doing a mock draft, by the way, coming soon your way. We'll be doing a mock draft.
So coming up in our next 2 videos, we're actually going to be doing 2 mock drafts that will be very similar. Both will be 12-team leagues. We're mixing it up a little bit right now from the 10 to the 12. Both are double quarterback leagues. And in one video, we are going to show you what it looks like to wait on quarterback in a double QB league. In the other video, we're going to show you what it looks like when you draft high on quarterbacks in the 2QB.
So I'm excited.
Should be fun. And anyways, so that's the end of this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed our top 10 quarterbacks list. We'll be trying to come out with some sort of top 5 or top 10 list every week, just like this one. And go ahead and hit that like button, and please make sure to subscribe and hit that little bell. That way, every time we upload a video, you're notified of it. And in the comment section below, let us know, what do you think? Is there somebody we're underrating? Is somebody we're overrating? Is there somebody we didn't even mention? That just let us know. If you disagree with us, if you agree with us, are we idiots?
Ryan Tannehill, number 1 overall. You can go nuts in that comment section.
Yep, go right ahead. So anyways, we'll see you guys next time.